There's a single mantra that has helped me my entire life bypass fear and make really any dream I've had come true, no matter how scary it seemed, no matter how intimidating it was, or how unprepared or inexperienced I felt. And that mantra is this. You ready for it? Start before you're ready. I'm going to say that again. Start before you're ready. If you wait until you feel ready to do anything meaningful, you're going to be waiting for the rest of your life. Look, I have been doing this for a long time now. I've supported tens of thousands of entrepreneurs to start and grow their businesses across 160 industries and across 119 countries. And I've noticed some similarities. Among the people who are the most successful, the happiest, the people who are actually contributing the most, they all have one thing in common, and it's this. They all start before they're ready. You see, I think you've misidentified the enemy here, because the enemy, it's not making mistakes. It's not changing your mind, and the enemy is not your fear. The only enemy that you need to defeat, my friend, is not getting started. This is what most of us just fail to realize. Action is the antidote to fear. Action creates progress and momentum. And action, consistent action, is all you ever need to make anything happen in your life. Now, it seems like you can't open a book or read a blog post these days without hearing somebody tell you to follow your passion or follow your bliss or follow your heart. And yes, I have said those things too. But today I want to talk about the power of going in what can often feel like the opposite direction. I want to talk about the power of following your fear. I'm not talking about following your very useful fear of big moving vehicles and walking in front of a bus, nor am I talking about doing anything stupid or irresponsible that could ruin you financially. What I am talking about, though, is the power of following good fear, directive fear, the kind of fear that you feel when you have an idea that just won't leave you alone, an idea about doing something that you've always wanted to do, something that's different and bold and kind of risky, where part of you is saying, oh no, I actually couldn't do that. But the deeper, wiser part of you wants this thing so damn bad. And the moment you imagine yourself going for it, you have worries like, will people laugh at me? Will they ignore me? Maybe this isn't even really an idea. What if I do it and it sucks? Am I going to destroy my reputation? Am I going to lose my marriage and my family and wind up living on the streets? My friend Steven Pressfield talks about this kind of fear in The War of Art, and he says, remember our rule of thumb. The more scared we are of a work or calling, the more sure we can be that we have to do it. And he continues, the more fear we feel about a specific enterprise, the more certain we can be that that enterprise is important to us and the growth of our soul. Don't give away your power. So anytime some nasty criticism or BS comes your way, you have to say this: you cannot take me down. I will not give you that power. I want you to make that your new mantra in life. You got to realize that people can say whatever they want, but you do not have to take it in, and you don't have to let it ruin your day. Your time on this earth is so precious, and it's really, really important that you protect your soul. Now, a mistake I notice a lot of folks making, especially in the beginning, is they want instant results. They want these blockbuster hits like a bajillion followers on social media or millions of dollars in sales after only a few years or maybe even a few months worth of work. I gotta say, patience is one of the most underrated traits in modern business. Do not try and run before you can walk. You got to take pride in starting small and scrappy, and we try and operate small and scrappy to this day. You've got to be consistent in what you do. You have to be relentless. And most important, this is the thing, you need to write this down. Work your tail off to make your product effing outstanding over the long term.
There's been thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of warriors that have been in very stressful situations, faced evil and faced death, much worse than the situation I'm in or you're in that we might consider stressful. And I even did this when I was overseas, when I was on deployment, when I was a combat leader. I was feeling stress. And you know what? We took casualties and it was awful and it was heartbreaking. But there were other soldiers and warriors throughout time that have been in much worse situations. Gettysburg or Vicksburg or the Battle of the Bulge. And all those horrible situations, they prove really that humans can withstand almost unimaginable stress. Which meant to me that I could too. And you can. And the first step for me is doing that, taking that look to gain some perspective. And then in order to gain perspective, you got to do something that we already talked about. You've got to detach. You've got to detach from the problems or the stress that you're experiencing so that you can get that perspective of them. Now, there's a couple different types of stress. Now, if it's something that you can control that's causing you stress, well, why aren't you getting control of it? Now, there's also stress that's caused by things that you cannot control. And if you remember talking earlier about artillery and how horrible that was, and what made it so horrible was that there's no control over it. So if you can't control something and you can't get control of it, you have to at least embrace what you can. And I'm not saying you're going to embrace artillery shelling, but I'll tell you what, when it comes to things like artillery, or for us in Ramadi was IEDs, and we could do everything we could do to mitigate that risk, but eventually there's only so much you can do, and you cannot completely eliminate it. But you can't control it, so why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to stress about it? If there's something that's completely beyond your control, you've got to detach from it and not let yourself get stressed about it. And on top of that, if it's something that you can't control, how can you look at it in a different light? How can you see it in a way that you could actually take advantage of it? How can you take that stress and make it into some kind of ally? You know, the chaos of combat is something that I couldn't control, but I had to embrace it so I could try and figure out how to take advantage of it. So when it comes to stress, don't fight it. Turn it on itself and use it. Use it. Use it to make yourself sharper and more alert. And use it to make yourself think more and learn more and get better. And use that stress as a catalyst to make yourself better. You've lived a life dominated by doubt and fear. How do you step into bravery? Step. That's how you step into bravery. Step. Take the step. Step aggressively towards your fear. And that step towards your fear is the step into bravery.